The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
And you think the world would be peaceful, go ask the Indians in India how peaceful the world would be. Or go ask the Catholics in the Philippines how peaceful the world would be if there was no Israel. Go look around the world at all the conflicts. Go ask the Africans how peaceful the world would be if there was no Israel. Wherever you look, it's Muslims killing people, including Muslims. They are at war, but you're not. No, you're not at war. You're going to make peace like your moronic, dumb president. I'm going to say this. This guy made a fortune in some business. So he comes up to me and he says, isn't it wonderful that Obama did a deal with Iran and avoided war? I said, are you out of your stupid mind? Are you that dumb? He said, well, what do you mean? He saved the world from war. I said, you really are an idiot. And I walked away from him, and I just had some vodka, and I left early. I couldn't take it. I can't be around stupid people. It lowers my intelligence. Do you have any idea what's actually in the agreement? Do you have any idea what Obama signed? Do you have any idea what the Iranians signed? It's two different agreements. Obama doesn't read any language other than English. That's if he's very good at English. Let's give him that. But there's two separate agreements, two distinctly separate agreements. One signed by the psychotic throwbacks in Iran, and one signed by Doofus in the White House and his band of merry pranksters who either are stoned on LSD. It's either the remnants of LSD, magic mushrooms, or antidepressants. Did you actually see what's in it? Do you want to hear what's in it? If you look at what's in it from the point of view of reading what's in it, you'll find out that they agreed to nothing, and this wonderful president of yours agreed to everything. I'm not going to bother reading it to you. You can find it if you're really bothered. But the fact is, it has as much validity as the Rolling Stone rape accusations. The deal that Obama is trumpeting has as much validity as the Rolling Stone rape accusations. The deal that Obama is trumpeting with Iran has as much validity as attacking the pizza shop owner for being a bigot. It has no validity whatsoever. We have an imposter in the White House who was put there on false pretenses, faked it from the day he got into college, faked it. And that's leading me right into the lead story of today. It says Mindy Kaling's brother pretended to be black to get into medical school. I don't know who Mindy Kaling is. Apparently she's an actress. But it says the big brother of Fox sitcom star Mindy Kaling, they're Indian, East Indian, reveals that he got into medical school by pretending to be African American. 15 years ago, VJ Chokalingam shaved off his straight black hair, trimmed what he calls his long Indian eyelashes, and started checking off the black box for race on his med school applications. Before long, the Asian Indian American was interviewing at Harvard and Columbia and found himself on wait lists at the University of Pennsylvania, Washington U, and Mount Sinai, despite his relatively mediocre 3.1 GPA and his family's considerable wealth. Are you listening to this? Are you listening carefully? Are you listening carefully to what affirmative action has wrought in this nation? Because I'm leading up to a major league point here. So here is an East Indian who started to change his association from Asian, East Asian, to black. And the minute he said he was black and started checking off black, with the very same GPA, the very same GPA, and the very same wealthy family, they ran after him. The schmucks who run the universities ran after him. Oh, we need you because you're African American. We don't need any more of those nasty Asian Indian Americans. So they ran after him. And here's what he says. He said he plans to write a memoir about his experiences to be entitled Almost Black. He said, I got into medical school because I said I was black, Chokalingam writes in his blog at almostblack.com. Quote, the funny thing is I'm not. My plan actually worked. Lucky for you, he said, I never became a doctor. How do you like that? I mean, those are harsh words. A man who pretended to be black to get into medical school. He shaved off his straight black hair and his mustache. Chokalingam said he came up with the idea of self-identifying as black after seeing fellow Asian Indian Americans with better grades than he had to struggle to get into medical school. He says, I disclosed that I grew up in one of the wealthiest towns in Massachusetts, that my mother was a doctor, and that my father was an architect, describing his med school applications. I disclosed that I didn't receive financial aid from the University of Chicago, and that I had a nice car. I was the campus rich kid. Let's just put it on the table. And yet the medical schools considered me an affirmative action applicant. On affirmative action in general, Chokel Ingham said, racism is not the answer. It also promotes negative stereotypes about the competency of minority Americans by making it seem like they need special treatment. Would anyone listening to this show argue with me that Obama was not advanced because of affirmative action? Is there anyone listening to this show who could definitively prove to me that he was advanced because of his great intellect and his great mentality? You know it's a lie. You've never seen his records, have you? No one's ever seen his college records. And you know he was handpicked and shuffled along and pushed forward. You know that, don't you? And take a look at what this man is doing to the world. Take a look at what he's done to the world. So medical school is one thing. But now you have a man pushed along way out of his league who's pretending to be president, and everything he touches blows up in front of our faces. That's all.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.